again, then I won't be involved the Elam's time again. I'm sorry, Rabbi. Okay, so like this. So we're holding in, it's a very not cool way to start a shir. No, very not cool. Okay. Sorry to all you guys, but okay. So we're holding in the list, Rabbi side. Let's try to make up the time here that we lost. We're holding in a list here. The list, as we go through the 39 malachas, I'm not going to go out of sight into every one of the 39 malachas. I'm just going to take, like I said the other day, just the ones that I think that most people wouldn't realize, and to try and focus on those, the things that people wouldn't have realized on their own, which would be considered a klish malach yisr. So we got until Bishul, and from this point, let's talk about the other 39 malachas after the steer of the past. For example, goizes. So goizes, again, like I mentioned, you have to know what are the 39 malachas, and once you know that, it's obvious what their applications are, what their kalim are. So a nail clipper, that's for sure. A klish malach yisr. That everyone understands. A nail file. I think a person wouldn't chop that. That's quite possible. He would see a nail file and wouldn't chop it. A comb. A comb is a good example of a klish malach yisr. So clearly an isser gomer, klish malach yisr. It's clearly you're not allowed to comb your hair on Shabbos. The reason you're not allowed to comb your hair or your beard on Shabbos is because of goizes. And that's a good example of something that a person would see a comb. You wouldn't think he'll just move it. Even when it's not in its way. Obviously. If it's a I think it's a good example. Again, I think our brain, it could be 100 years ago, everything I'm saying is pashut. But today our brain works in the world of electricity, and we were saying electric things are muksa. But everything that's not electric, we don't see as muksa. So unless you'd have an electric comb, I don't think you'd see it as muksa. And that would be a very good example of a klish malach yisr. Malabin. Sorry, tweezers also, yeah. Yeah, tweezers is a good example, very good, of a klish malach yisr. And then you'd be able to move it. Let's say he needs to take out, let's say he needs to take out a splinter or something like that. It's the best way to take out a splinter. So that's about the normal thing. You're not going to tell him, no, he should use like a fork or a spoon. It's not normal. So maybe that would be a good example. A brush, the same thing, obviously, a comb and brush. Now, malabin, I was thinking, what good things do you have in cleaning? What cleaning utensils, clean is an issa deraisa, and that gets into schita, a map and a chanami. But I think a few things that people won't realize. An ironing board. An ironing board is a klish malach yisr. What's the major function of an ironing board? Is to enable an isser. Yeah, so Maisa, this is where you get, this depends on the dira, right? If you have the Bachrim dira, and he has 80% of the usage of the ironing board is, 99% is not the iron. There's no Bachrim dira with an ironing board. Okay. What? It's a stender. No, he's a stender. That's a dining room table. So, no, but I'm right. No, Rabbi, it's mamish. It's a gewaldig example of something that nobody would realize. No, so it's a great example of something nobody would realize this. What? A lint brush. A lint brush is definitely a klish malach yisr. They have those lint sticker things. You know what I mean? Those things that attack also. What? Rollers. A lint roller. That's a klish malach yisr. You're not going to that. No, but again, I think that would. No, but an ironing board, I don't think anybody would chop on his own. Because it's just what is it, right? But it's something that enables an isser. Okay. Usually, the reason why you want to move an ironing board is because it's in the way or something. Another thing is the drying rack. Those drying racks that everybody has in the house. Because let's say it's raining outside. So, I'm talking about the ones that fold up and everything. Those are I'm not saying even when there's nothing on it. You took everything off before Shabbos, or let's say the stuff was dry before Shabbos, or so it's not an issue of a bus. It's mamish klish malach yisr. It functions to hold wet things, which is usually muksa. So it's a klish malach yisr. Again, I don't think people would have that. Yeah, but we explained that the pshat is it's the same thing with the drying pegs. They Olam called them pegs, I think, correct? Clothing pegs, right? So the clothing line pegs. The idea is that when you start the usage of it, it's because she's muksa. So we look and everything else is considered empty. That's a great example. You would never, I walked around my house on Shabbos and I changed my list a little bit of all the things that like Tucker. That's when I got the clothing line. What? Hangers, is a klish malach yisr. Usually it's used for. That's l'chayr. It's a clothing brush. No, I saw even I was looking around the house for various troublemakers and various muksa kli shemach l'yasser items, and I saw an interesting thing. I saw like Rabbi said, I saw a measuring cup that you use to measure the detergent. So okay, if it has detergent in it, it's a basis for the muksa. That's real muksa. That's evil muksa. It's muksa machmas gufa. But let's say you just have some measuring cup there. How could you have a measuring cup like in the middle of the house? I'm saying it's a measuring cup that measures detergent. How could you have it? How could you have it? No, but why would it be? It would just be by the washing machine. How could you have it? So it's a good kasha. It's a good kasha. What? Anshel. It's a good kasha. The mice, it's a good kasha, but I saw it when I went around and I did my sivuv and I was looking for no. And a normal person would never say such a thing as muksa. It wouldn't dawn on you because it doesn't have like electric and it doesn't fly and it doesn't shave and it doesn't what? Sorry. So a regular cooking measuring cup, a lot of times, it's true. A regular cooking measuring cup gets involved in a bigger shayla. But yeah, he's right. The regular cooking measuring cup is used to do an isser of medida. And that could also be klish machtal yisser. Medida is an isser on Shabbos. Sorry? Come again? But that's also, there's an isser to be moeded on Shabbos. It's a separate isser of being moeded on Shabbos. So therefore, it could be if you need it to serve and you don't have something else, so maybe it's sarkufai, but usually you have something else, like a cup. Why do you have to use the measuring cup, Why? Sorry? Yeah, but again, that's all assuming you don't have a different kli. Mishabura's sheet is that if you have a different kli, you have to use a different kli. Mishabura, what? Usually you're going to have a different thing for a kli sheni. You have 500 cups, so you have to use one of those. Sorry? I don't know if that's enough of a reason to warrant. I don't know. Later. Not sure. If you're miyachidik, isn't it? Say that. He said you're miyachidik. Okay. That could be. Now, by say, tzeveya. I told you, make the little sivuv around the house. What do you have for tzeveya? Makeup. So some makeup is mamish muksa machmas gufa. Like, if you have the blush itself, so that itself is just, it's something just gets used up, right? The actual, let's say that, it's just the paint. It's just the paint. But a lipstick is taka. So today a lot of people have the lipstick, which is like a paintbrush with the juice, with the paint. I'm talking about as that little, not the one which comes out like this. A lot of people have that one that looks like nail polish. Everyone knows what I'm talking? That would be muksa machmas gufay, because that's just a non-kli. It's just, a paint that gets used up. So it's a non-keli, which is to do isser. So that's a muksa machmas gufay. But if you have the one which is fashioned like a lip stick, right? Like a stick of lip. So that one is mamash a kli. So it's a kli shemlach l'yeser, and it's mutter only tzarek guf makayim. What tzarek gufa could you have with a lipstick? Well, probably not. I don't know. But what tzarek makayim? You can have a tzarek makayim. What? Sorry? Come again? Yeah, it's a kli that you do isser with. The isser of mamreach. Oh, you mean why did I put it by teveh? Because by mamreach I have other things. Because they fashioned it. That's why I'm not talking about the one. What? But it's a bar of soap that they fashioned into a kli. This gets involved in a cigarette, and we're going to talk about this. A cigarette and a matchstick, like a stick that they, you go like that, right? So are those considered kalim because they fashioned it? So you can hear maybe a match nish, maybe a cigarette is also a kli l'chay, right? There are those that want to say a cigarette is a muksa machmas gufay because it just gets used up. But mice is a different way of looking at it, right? You can look at it that it's a chefz, it's a kli. They fashioned it in a certain way, and you can, it's something that it does get used up. And until then, you have to hold it in your hand, and it's like part of the whole geschmack of it is kli. So that's does. Okay. What about crayons? We spoke about, eyeliner. Eyeliner is a kli, but the problem is it's attached to the eyeliner is attached to the juice. The juice is a gufay, right? I was specific out to look at this whole thing. You know what I'm talking about? You have like the eyeliner, and it has a like a, what's it called? What? It has the paint inside. I don't know what that stuff is called. You guys, the eyelining stuff, right? The liner, right? So then, you take it out, and you go like this. You guys probably do this, no? You fix your, right? And so what do you want from me? So what is that? Is that a gufay because the ikr is the paint, or do you look at the fact that it houses a kli? It's both, right? It's housing a kli and it's housing the paint. So, sorry? No, the lipstick is fashioned. The whole entire stick is a kli. No, the juice one. You're right. The juice one will be the same shayla, you mean? Yeah, and Hanami, the juice will be the same shiloh. The juicy lipstick will be the exact same shiloh, Rabbi Yedakin says. Actually, people probably don't want their names being mentioned when I talk about these things. Yeah. But wait, before the makeup. So he says, that's a good one. Let's say I was thinking that, you have the blush, right? You have the blush, and then in the blush, it has like a mirror that, some people use it for their tefillin. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? Right? And then, so now, how do I look at this whole kli? Do I see that the mirror, first of all, what is that mirror? That mirror enables Isser, right? She's a kli shemalach al Isser, right? You only use it with the makeup. You have it like this, and you have it like, after you take off your tefillin, you go like that, right? It's only used for Isser. It's only used for Isser. It enables the Isser because you look at it to see, if everything is perfect and whatever. It's interesting. So now in Mela, you have a kli shemalach al Isser together with the blush. So now you have to figure out who's more important, the blush or the mirror. But in other words, whoever is now more important is kaveya, is this thing a bus is for her. Who my bus is for? My bus is for the mirror or my bus is for the kli shemalach al Yasser? What would you say? What? It's one kli. It's probably one kli. What would you say? What? The mirror is an agav, right? Mirror is an agav. After you finish, this was the raya that somebody brought me. It's a raya. After you finish blushing, right? So then you throw it out, right? And you don't save the mirror. So that's mamash raya. That's mamash raya. So you see that she's tuffle to the blush. The blush is the muksamach gufay. So she becomes one big chefsa the gufay. L'chayra, it's the same raya. Rabbi Yedakin, who doesn't want his name being mentioned. It's the same raya. Klape the lipstick with the painty one, right? And the eyeliner. Because what do you do afterward? You throw it out. Nobody keeps that what's it called? It's not the kind of thing that you keep. That's it, right? So therefore, the whole thing becomes a muksamach gufay. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Am I going too quick? No, regular. That's interesting. That's interesting. As a Chamshi wants to know, a regular tefillin mirror services your tefillin. The only thing is, sometimes you see a guy in the middle of Sukkot Zimran, he's doing all types of things with his tefillin mirror. You have to know. But I don't want to say who. But sometimes you see, not you, because we need you to open up the windows again. So whatever Chamshi says today goes. Because what? It's interesting. He's saying the only thing it does, I have the tefillin miyuchad. The mirror is miyuchad for my tefillin. And it's there to service my tefillin. What? That is such an interesting thought. I never thought of that before. It's klishmak liyaser. What? No, usually like it's over there on the side. You just like take it out. No, the nafkaminas is tremendous. Let's say you're coming down to you're about to go to shul or something, whatever, right? And you just want to make sure like you're not having a weird pay stay or something. So there's the tefillin mirrors right there. So you could look at the tefillin mirror, or you could just go to the bathroom and look in one of the bathrooms. The feed the Mishnah Berurah. No, it's mamish a good case. Whose idea? Chamshi. That's 2 for 2. Yeah, that's 2 for 2. Don't bat anything else, because otherwise you could go 2 for 3. What? Nah, that's zicher batal to the siddur. The siddur is zicher the ikr. The siddur we're going to see is so ikr that he knocks out leichters. The siddur is the king. We're going to see Mitzvah Shem, Kisvei Kodesh, and things like that. They're very, very valuable. That's mamish a good one. So no, mamish never thought of that. You're not supposed to use that mirror. It's probably negay, you guys. No, you guys probably have bad hair days. Because anybody has hair has this problem. Right? So you probably right there. You take the tefillin mirror and you don't go to the one by the mirror by the sink or whatever. But now you should go to the one by the. No, it's taka. No, Yossi, it's taka. It's negayu, no? What? Oh, a siddur is the davar shel b'kedusha. Doesn't matter. A siddur is kisvei kodesh. Doesn't matter. Once it's kisvei kodesh, it has a shame of non-muksa b'chlal. Doesn't matter. Even if it has just one kapitel tilim in it, it's kisvei kodesh. One kapitel tilim. That's it. Sorry? There was never, the Chazal never goizer on kisvei kodesh b'chlal. Any kisvei kodesh. Chazal were never goizer. No, there at all. The most non-muksa thing in the world is kisvei kodesh. That's the most non-muksa thing in the world. We'll do anything to get you to learn. We'll even take away muksa. Anything. Okay? No, but that's a good one. I never thought that one. Huh? Should I knock it out? That sounds good. No, you're doing it to fix the. Something sounds interesting, then. Now, computer chair we'll talk about. It's a different shmooze. What's a shaykh? Oh, the computer chair. No, because there the chair, the mirror is enabling the tefillin to be in their proper place. Let's assume this guy he's a big tzaddik. He never looks in the mirror except, this mirror will never ever use except for tefillin, right? And that's it's mamish yuchad just to put the tefillin in their place. It's a good shayla. That's a good shayla. Okay. Hamshi, what would I have done if you didn't come today? First of all, there'd be no TV. No. And second of all, I wouldn't know this case. No, it's a good thing. All right, you could leave now. The Teufer, okay, Teufer's needles. That's what I looked around the house. I saw like a needle out. You can move it, sir. Teufer, I don't have too many good ones. Korea, what? A button, that might be worse. We're going to get to buttons. Buttons is a big topic. Button is something that it's not yet a kli, because it's oimit to be mitchaber to something else. So she might be a muksamachos gufa. She might be worse. And when she comes off, we have to talk. It's a whole sugya. It's a very big sugya. I don't want to talk about it now because it's a whole sif in Shulchan Aruch. Mitzvah sif yod. Korea. What's a Korea case? So I'll tell you what I saw in my house. But again, I saw that I had a staple remover. You know those things? A staple remover. That was the only one that I looked around the house and I saw a staple. There must be others, right? But that's what I saw. Would you guys have realized that's a klishmachtel yeser? Of course. Nobody would chap it. Tell you the truth. Avi, they're not saying the truth, right? They never would have chapped it. Say the truth. Come on. You're on TV. Say honest, you know. You say the truth. You wouldn't have chapped it. Yossi, you would have chapped it? I don't think so. I don't think other Rabbi share. What do you say? You would have chapped it? Okay, you would have chapped it. But you learn muktzah. Let's say you didn't learn muktzah. Who didn't learn muktzah that wouldn't have chapped it? No? Morty, you wouldn't have chapped it. That's a good one, right? I saw it. Muktzah. Okay. This one wasn't in the house, but this was a koilel favorite. For tzeda, what's for tzeda? A mousetrap. It's like a koilel favorite. No, because sometimes you have those mousetraps. You don't have the big one with like with cages and everything. Sometimes you have just simple paper that Mickey gets onto and this is the end. He gets there and boom. Now I can't. What is that? That's a kli. That's sticky paper. She's a kli, l'chayra, right? And it's oimit to do tzeda. Right now, for Shteitzach to go and put it out on Shabbos, it's a gomer of trying to tzad mice and crocodiles, whatever he has in his house, right? But the etzem zach is she's a kli shemlach yeser. No, I give you enough gemina. Let's say, I'll tell you enough gemina. Should I tell you enough gemina? Right? Let's say you have one in the living room because before Shabbos, there were all types of farm animals that you thought were draining around. You saw little droppings like in the deer. No? You saw little zachin or whatever, all types of zachin. So you put out before Shabbos and you put it, let's say, mamish on the chair, the table or something, something gishmak like that, right? Now comes Shabbos, and now this is mamish geferlich. You don't want this on the table. That's a gewaldig example of everything we spoke about the other day. Because the hammer case is like really nish geferlich, But imagine this, you have on the table, this thing, it's a mouse. People are gonna come in, here comes the shviger. Oh, there she is again, right? It's come time the shviger, it's Dr. Shviger. Was it does? What's that? You tell her, the worst is when she puts her hand on it. You're going to be in so much trouble. You say, that looks like a mousetrap. Interesting how the Shviger Punk knows what a mousetrap looks like. But look, that looks like a mousetrap. A mousetrap. I'm taking my daughter home. That's the end. You have to say goodbye, like Avraham Avinu when they took his wife away. Right? That's it. Right? Who wants that? So you say, maybe can I move it? The tzarech what? Kishmach is a tzarech Shviger. It doesn't say anywhere. So what is it? It's a tzarech makim. It's ruining the makim. It makes it embarrassed. It makes it this, that. All the things we spoke about last week. But stamazai, I would say you have to move it because it's taka very sticky and somebody could wind up putting his hand there. I can imagine that mitzias is nerve-wracking the whole Shabbos, that somebody might put his hand there, somebody might put something there. Maybe that's called ruining the makim. You hear that a little bit? What do you think to that? That could ruin the makim. You know what I'm saying? You have that sticky thing. Somebody's going to put something down there by mistake. Yeah, put down there. Who knows what? Sorry? No, the mouse isn't there yet. I was thinking, don't start. It's not nicht gekommen, yeah? What? It's a piece of sticky paper? What? It reminds you of, it makes you think of your threshold of grafshare. The Gemara's example is soya. That's the Gemara's example. Not something that reminds you of tsoya, something was is the yot soya, So we stretched it to things that smell and whatever. You're stretching it to things that give you a shtickle complex, things that get you nervous, I don't know. What? Sorry? I was thinking something else. I was thinking a different mahal. This is maybe what you're referring to. I was thinking maybe because Tucker is going to catch the mouse on Shabbos. And then she's going to be right there. What? So that's all sugya, and it's a sham we have to learn. Is there a heter to avoid a gav sharei? I move something so that it won't cause a matzav if we'll have to move real muksa. So I have a cheshbon why I want to move it, because if I move it, I'm going to prevent that the mouse should come. If the mouse comes, but then you're going to have a problem because you have to put it in a drawer or something, because otherwise you'll have a problem of trying to put it out that the mouse can get there. But if I'm going to take it away in order that later I won't have to move the muksa, so then maybe that's called the klish malachta li'isser sayrich. Maybe what would that be? Sayrich the makim, maybe a makim that the makim shouldn't get a graf shel rei. I'm not so pick about this. Okay, but the point is, it's taka muksa. She's muksa. She's a klish malachta li'isser. Thus is sod. What else we have here? Shoichet. What do you have for shaykhid? Anything for murder? Fly the bat. So I got an electric one. Like I said, I had a chap, it was a klish makdisa. But some people, they're not as fancy as me. I have an electric, like it looks like a tennis racket, right? I'm like that old man that sits in the summertime with that one, right? Some people, they're not that fancy. And so I saw the Rabbi Falk, Zechrein Levracha, he writes, fly, he doesn't call it swatter like we do. No. Fly paper is a good one. Fly paper, I was going to say also, fly paper is l'chayra kli shemlach le'liaser, because it's something that you put out to catch and to kill flies, right? Sorry what? Usually they don't have arichas yamim once they hit the paper, so I put it under shaychet, right? They don't have usually arichas yamim, that's usually. The chaver that do have arichas yamim, sometimes they can get off, they lose a finger. What? He could live forever. Oh, I see that you never caught one on those things. No. Then you have to deal with them, and it's very heart-rending sometimes. But can we talk about this after the year? It's a bit heart-rending. I see you never. Right? Arshtander, you know what I'm talking about over there? Huh? Yeah, because you left them there for 4 months. Rabbi Chodi. Right? They don't die right away. It's a slow and pain. Rabbi said PETA is going to close us down, right? Animals are people too, or whatever they call it. But Akapanim, he has one. What is he called? Not a fly swatter. A taskarifin, swatting bat. He means a fly swatter. Yeah, a fly swatter. Yeah. Oh, we found out what a winnowing cat is. Who was it? Who helped me? Who helped me find out what a winnowing cat is? No, somebody here helped me find out. It seems to be you actually winnow with it. So it's not a riot to what we spoke about. They actually winnow with it, take it off their head. What? He had correspondence with various Filipino people, and this is what came out. We're not clear, right? But you'll find out for us after the typhoon's over. Okay. You get my point that that's not a raya klape arshayla. But Al fly paper, that's a klishmak. Fly swatter, he writes swatting bat. Now he's not talking about the electric one, because he wrote that they didn't have the fancy electric one, right? He's talking about just the one you swat with. I don't know. It's interesting. No, where's Rav Nissen? I always bother him about these 50% to 80% shots. No. What do you say? Most of the time you murder with the swatter, or you're just trying to get him away? No. Oh, you guys are good fellows. I know you're trying to kill. I know. But most of the time, that old man who's sitting there, he's just going like this. He's going like that. Okay, so it depends on the person. I'm saying, you guys, you stand there, like, right? And I missed again, What? It's a Mefurish Sif. Let's see. So Shechanarch says, this is where it gets labeled. Shechanarch says, Mutter l'taltal menifa b'Shabbos lavrich zvuvim. So that sounds like Kallus, right? Mutter l'taltal menifa b'Shabbos lavrich zvuvim. To move around the zvuvim. So Mr. Brewer says, no, not what it means. He says, kikol klish malach tal yisr. He means you're allowed to move it to go and mavriach the bugs. Dainu bam is she's a klish malach tal yisr because she's a murder stick. But you're allowed to use it to go and to move around to fly the bugs away, right? You have to move back already. So in Sif Chav Gimel, he talks about, he says, Mutter lachtoich and onof, min adekel, min ba'idyoy, mutter lahanef al shokol, navrich ha-zvuvim. So the Mishnah Berurah over here, he says, Venira, to huadin, this is one of my personal favorite Mishnah Berurahs. Mishnah Berurah Siman Tzadi Ches. Mishnah Berurah says, huadin, if you were mayached a stick, Erev Shabbos, la'ayim ala tinoikis, right? to scare the kinderlach. You have some people have a fly swatter, some people have a children's swatter, So you're allowed to, if also loymar to a guy to be toilet shit, then he says, Hazvuvim ubevachi zar, be careful not to murder them. Be careful not to murder them. What's this thing? This thing is a klish machtal. Yes, sir. This one. Right? So I don't know. It depends on the person. Each person to their own. How many people here just take the thing and go like this when, and how many people, don't forget, you have to go over to a wall if you want to kill him. You have to go, what? Or a table. That's not so geschmack because it's a dead mouse on the table. What? It might be too bad. Okay. Which one? The weapon that I have in my house. What is that? I have like it looks like a cane. But it's there to it has like how do you explain this thing? There's a name for it, but I can't say it on the TV. So maybe after this year I'll tell you what it's called. But it's scary because it's like it has like a what? You won't mess with me if you do it, but sure not, right? So what is that thing? I don't know what that thing is because it's there it's be'etzim there to what? I never used it yet. No, I'm saying so. No, but be'etzim it's a cane. Whenever we want to play cane, we dress up with the cane when that's the cane. I don't know. Let me think about it. Don't go into my house, please. Okay. Okay. Now, mafshit. Does anybody have anybody skinning cows or things like that? It's nagay here? No. Traber. So you can have like a trabering knife. I guess the guys that traber that take off the fats and all these things, they probably know from these things, right? Was? Skinning a descaler. Descaler. Interesting. Descaler. Interesting. Does Falk have any examples? Okay. Misartate means that you underscore. So a ruler is a klisha machal yeser. No, the main. No one would chap that. No, Abi, help me out. Abi, no one would chap that. You see a ruler on the table. If it's in the pencil case, Midiana pencil, fine. But you start see a ruler on the table. Most people do rulers. They use things. They measuring Zazar on Shabbos. They write. They underscoring Zazar on Shabbos. You wouldn't have chapped that. It's a good thing you're here. Memacheik, so sandpaper. Sandpaper. That's a good one. People wouldn't chap. Sandpaper is a klish machal yeser. Okay. Now I have like this. Oh, a knife sharpener. That's a good one. That's a good one because she's in the drawer. Whoever's into their knives. Who's into their knives here? Right? I've felt you with me, right? Right? Have I showed you? You're not? No, you don't. So you have it in the drawer. I have it in the drawer. And that's something no one would chap. She's for sure klish machal yeser. To go and sharpen a knife on Shabbos is a makabit patish, right? And you'd see it just looks like nothing. It looks like a stick. It's like a metal stick. No one would chap that. Rabbi Schwab, you chap that? Right? You never chap that. Because when you're taking the knife and making it sharper, perfect, it's like a finished product. So the Isser is makabit patish. That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. Taken payas in Hilchos Yantiv. In Hilchos Shabbos, in Hilchos Yantiv. That's what it says. What? Come again? Okay, but it's functioning. Now, you're not allowed to sharpen a knife. It's a tikkun mana of deraisa, derabbanan. You're not allowed on Shabbos to sharpen a knife. It's either derabbanan or deraisa because you're making it usable, you're making it better, whatever it is. But it's an Isser makabit patish, right? No, but nobody would chop that. You would see that stick inside the drawer. No, Rabbi say, you have a Rabbi say. I had this on Shabbos. I had it over there. It's in the drawer. Okay, I could not move it and just take out the fork. It's not that you don't think. You just move it and take out the fork. Who asked you to do that? Right? Just take out the fork without moving. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. That's not tzarech mekoymai. Right? That's not called tzarech. No, but frankly, that's not called tzarech mekoymai. There's no games. What? A knife what? What's a knife block? What's wrong with that? Oh, she's in the middle. So you mean it's a bus, it's the davar also davar mutter. So it's a bus for both. It's a bus for both. You're allowed to move the knife block. Yeah. Now, okay, two more cases here. Okay, one case, I'm going to ask the Olam. I am, our Rabbi in this room is Moshe Feinstein Zecher Tzadik Levracha. That doesn't say that we can't ask questions on our Rabbi. unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll get the answer though, because maybe one of us will have the answer, but that's our Rabbi. But we have to be able to ask questions. In the 113th tshuva, I think it was, Rabbi Moshe has a very famous tshuva where he talks about all the issues of a toothbrush. All the issues of a toothbrush. So Rabbi Moshe says to brush your teeth with toothpaste that's memachek, mamreach, whatever, because you're taking it and smearing it. Okay, so nobody's using toothpaste. Okay. Then Rabbi Moshe talks about schita. Rabbi Moshe talks about if you put it in the water and then you spritz it in your teeth and dust. So that's schita because it's coming out because the bristles are very close together. Okay, that's Rabbi Moshe. That's Shlomo Zalman says the same thing. No, I tell people they could take mouthwash, put it in their mouth, and then brush. Because then you're not putting it into, you're not putting the water into the toothbrush and then brushing it. Here, any water that's going to come into the toothbrush is incidental. I don't want it bichlal the toothbrush. I forget it. I want it in my mouth. Right? I don't want it in the toothbrush coming out. So whatever the mela goes in, I'll you what I'm doing. It's a good eitzah. No, you guys should love me just for that eitzah. It's a good eitzah. Okay. Ramesh will agree. Then Ramesh talks about not the famous tshuva. It's like a short tshuva. And Ramesh goes through all the issues. Then Ramesh says that you're not allowed to wash it for next week because it's a chana. Okay, Shlomo Zalman maybe argues. He says that's a normal thing you do after you finish it. So you don't leave it there all ekeldik and all gross and whatever. Okay, kavachaymer if you might use it again on Shabbos. Okay. So, but then Ramosha at Tzuga Lake Dep is a big chiddush. So like Ramosha, you have to have one toothbrush miyuchad for Shabbos. Now, by me, it's not negeya because I got one of those fancy electric guys. One of those fancy electric guys that after a few weeks breaks your fillings and things like that. So I got one of those. Right. So now any regular toothbrush is memela, the one that's miyuchad for Shabbos. So if you don't have to go and toothbrush, you don't have to go and start doing kaparas with it and whatever. It's obvious if you have an electric toothbrush that you use during the week, then she's the one for Shabbos. So then she's miyuchad for Shabbos. Okay, but let's say you're not as fancy. And you have a toothbrush that you use. A regular people toothbrush, a simple people toothbrush, and now you want to. So Moshe will tell you can't use her on Shabbos. You have to have a special toothbrush that you use for Shabbos. That's what Moshe says. It says Moshe uvdin dechal, and not I'm just asking a question. When do we make an uvdin dechal? Just how did Moshe know this? Till now, Dayenu, whatever the Gemara called uvdin dechal. So Gemara has all types of interesting like back scratches that they call uvdin dechal, things like that, whatever. Who knows when to make an uvdin dechal? I would have just said, if you take your toothbrush and you do it by ifna mutter, it's a kli shemalach l'yesser. It's true. Mine is probably a kli shemalach l'heter agav. My toothbrush, the one that you're miyachid, is a kli shemalach l'heter derech agav. But let's say you're not like that. You have a regular toothbrush, and usually you use it for you put on shampoo. Don't put shampoo. Toothpaste. Right? You put toothpaste and you use it. So it's a kli shemalach l'yesser. Its main function is to do Esther. Okay. And now, I want you to switch around the mouthwash. But Moshe was sagar aling sadarach, and he said it's an uvdin dechal. You have to have a separate. So then, what's with the rest of my list? Why every single other thing on this list is not an uvdin dechal? I'm asking. If anybody knows the question, I give him a just answer. I don't know the answer to this question. Anybody know the answer? I don't know the answer. It's mamish. How does everybody know? I looked through other sugis of uvdin dechal, tried to make sushtells. I could hear a little bit that you find the concept of like a back scratcher and jinchav zayin. So this is like a teeth scratcher. Later, I don't understand it. I managed to understand it. It's not such a long truth from Ramosha. I don't understand why I'm going to say that a kli shemalach l'yesser is my toothbrush and all the other things that we spoke about here. Let's say, I don't know, the needle. What did you use before? Who asked me about the tweezer? I don't know. So why is a tweezer not a kli shemalach l'yesser? That's an uvdin dechal. The normal thing you do is guys, how can I let you take out a splinter? I don't know. An ironing board. I don't know. It's an uvdin dechal. You do whole things on it. So I'm going to go and let you take it. And now Moshe is going to agree that you can. Move it. It is a kli shemalach l'yesser. He'll agree that you could use it for tzarech gufa mekayma, but you can't use it for its own gufa. That's what Moshe is telling you. So where do we draw the line? Like that means everything here that I spoke about today, we have to see. If you, let's say you got a mirror, Chamshi's mirror. All right, your fault. You said it. So it becomes your mirror. The Chamshi's mirror. So Chamshi's mirror. What? I mean, you can't. What? I'm saying so. I can't now. Let's say I don't have another mirror. I can't use it to fix my hair because it's uvdin dechal. It's something shver. I don't know. If anybody has the answer, you should say. Why are you looking at me? Say the answer. Do you have an answer in my mind? Just say the answer. No, I'll give you the mic. You want the microphone? Say the answer. Well, what do you want? You don't have an answer. But you have an answer. You don't have an answer, right? All of you have masks over your mouth. Nothing to say. Nothing to say. Okay. Let me get invited. What? I don't know. Let's go. I'm just getting upset. I don't know. Okay. Now, the last group over here, Mechatech, the ones I saw in my house, I saw a pencil sharpener. Pencil sharpener, you know that's a klishmak this, I think. No? Okay. That one I think we know. No? Pencil sharpener. Maybe. The tape dispenser. The thing that holds the tape, I gave it a name, tape dispenser, right? So let's see, when the tape is in there, probably bundled to the tape. Let's say you buy the cheapy ones that you throw out after the tape is done, right? Not the fancy tape dispensers that, the fancy people have. So that one is taka bundled to the tape. The tape itself might be gufay. So the whole thing might be gufay because it's not yet a kli. You have to make it into a kli. By cutting it, that we're going to talk about mitzvah. Koisiv. I have a good one for koisiv that I don't think guys will get. Okay, pencil, pen, shkoyach. That's klishmak this. We spoke about a pen lid, and we spoke about if you could use it for not your friend's ear, but okay. But I have a good one that I don't think the Elam will get. What? Sorry? A cookie cutter shape, not bad. Not bad. That's not bad. Cookie cutter shape, not bad. Makes shapes, and that's taka to do a koisiv on Shabbos. Special shapes, okay. No, I have a good one. A jigsaw puzzle. A jigsaw puzzle. You know why that's a good one? Because a puzzle for kids, the place can say you can make all this cheatas rishonim and whatever. So kids, when it comes to puzzles, but no kids play a jigsaw puzzle. The only people that play a jigsaw puzzle are adults, right? So what is that? So what is that? I couldn't figure it out. Is it a kli? What is it? It's a kli, because it was already put together once. So now you're just putting it back. What is it exactly? I think it's a kli shemalach liser to do koisif, which we all do aser. We're machmir that's an iser. So what? No, it's koisiv. When you put the picture and make it into the picture, so you make it a picture. Usually a puzzle was never muksa because the kids can play with it, even if you're going to not play it. But here it's something that no kid is going to play with, meaning an underage, the minor, right, is not going to be playing with this. Right? Whoever is able to play with this is of the age of chinuch, enough so that we're going to tell him not to play with puzzles. He's probably bar mitzvah, the kid that plays a jigsaw puzzle. No, so that's a good case. Right, it's a klishim lachli, yes, sir. So that's what I'm sure. And then okay, if you need to move it to get to the item, so then we could talk. Sorry, little kids puzzles, no, gefährlich, nicht gefährlich. Moichek, okay, erasers and whatever. Okay, boina, toolboxes. A toolbox, even if she's empty. I had in my house. I was looking around for all the things to talk to you guys about. I have an empty toolbox, right? So that gets involved in what we spoke about, something that the hazmana of its tzura. The tzura of a toolbox is to hold tools, and therefore it's hazmana enough, even though normally hazmana is not enough, but not on this. This hazmana would be enough, What? Come again? Retainer is a makel that you can wear on Shabbos. So, okay, what about sicer? Sicer, anybody have sicer? A crowbar. Like a crowbar is sticking around. I don't think anybody's going to move his crowbar on Shabbos. I doubt. So that's but that's an mavir. That's fire. What's a good example? So we have to talk about those Shabbos lamps, right? Those are klishim lachtal yes, or maybe worse. We'll see, right? Matchbox is a big fight. Are matches muksamachmas gufay because they just get used up, or are they kalim? This is a tremendous fight. It's a world war. It's a world war, and we're going to have to talk about that. Yeah. Sorry. Fire extinguisher is interesting. In other words, how do you look at a fire extinguisher? Do you look at it that it's just the buses for all the foam and all the whipped cream inside? Is that how you look at it, right? And therefore, it's really muksamachas gufay? Or do you say that no, it's a kli that has in it this? It's true that once you finish it, I don't think they buy a new one probably. Oh, you refill it? Then it's a kli. It's a kli. It's a kli. It's a kli shim lachal. Yes, sir. It's a guf magaymai. Like a what's it called? Like a lighter. A lighter is l'chayra klishim lachtal yeser, right? It's a klishim lachtal yeser, and it's obviously there's not that much you could do with a lighter on Shabbos, right? But come again. Fire blanket. I don't know. There's what is this? A fire blanket. Yeah. You'd like the FDNY or whatever, the Federal Fire Department of New York, they have like a fire blanket. I guess it's a klishim lachtal, yes, sir. Yeah, and you could use it. Let's say you want to keep yourself warm or something on Shabbos because somebody Erev Shabbos put out a fire and now it's all hot or something like that. So I guess that, yeah, sorry, kufa. Makeh b'patish. I had a good one, makeh b'patish. A shofar. All musical instruments are either going to be chesaron kisses or klisha malachta the isers. Atu, why? Why you're not allowed to use a musical instrument? Atu, you're going to come l'day makeh b'patish. So a good one's like a shofar. It's always like a shofar around all the time, just like dragging around the house and whatever. She's a klisha malachta, so you can only move her to her guf. Okay, that's a good one. We spoke about already. All these manuals, these do-it-yourself manuals, gardening manuals, and whatever, all these things, they're all okay. Klisha malachta. Yes, sir. Adkan is the list. Now we go weiter. Any questions before I go weiter? Any questions? Zum ersten Mal, zum zweiten Mal, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shakol niyeh b'dvaroi. Zum dritten Mal, what? Brass knuckles. Brass knuckles. Yes, Dovi, your brother asked that question. Brass knuckles. What are they there for? Like, what? Sorry? Intimidate. The same as a gun, probably, right? What? Don't open up the window. What? I guess it depends on the person. I do feel like the Olam shouldn't be answering it, only Yossi should, but what's the Ma'isa? And that's why you bought them, in order for that one punch. What? Okay, so it depends why you have your brass knuckles. You know, if you have your brass knuckles in order to give the one punch, if you have your brass knuckles so that every time you walk down like King's Highway, you can go, Shalom Aleichem. Good Shabbos. So then, what? Oh, okay, so then it gets into the gun shiloh. Then it gets involved in the shiloh. Okay. What? Yeah, because you're going to make him bleed. Okay. Akapanim, das ist Adkan Nakafav. Okay. Now, basically, let me gain to the greatest sugya over here. This is the last sugya over here in Klisha Malachta Yisr, which is this is a broader sugya. I think the item started today. I hope you saw the Maimakaimis already. This is a broader sugya. What do you do when you have muksa in your hand? What's the halacha now? Now, the sugya starts from Klisha Malachta Yisr. We're going to branch out. There's basically 4 types of cases we have to talk about. We have to talk about a yid that has klisha malachta the iser, that he started carrying beheter. He was doing it. Now what? Does he have to drop it? Then there's a case klisha malachta the iser that he accidentally picked up. Now what? That's a second case. Third case is, let's say you have evil muksa. You have muksa machmas gufay that he had a heter to count. How do you have a case of a muksa machmas gufay that he had a heter? He's shelling an egg on Shabbos. He's taking off the eggshell. Now he has in his hand an eggshell. So started out the heter. Now what? That's the third type of case. And the fourth type of case the Pais can talk about is a muksa, machmas gufay, which is batoyis. By mistake, he started picking it up. It was money that he's carrying, etc. But you have 4 possibilities. Right? Now, most of them, we have really clear guidance over here in this Mishnah Berurah. The makor for everything is taka this Mishnah Berurah by us. The Mishnah Berurah by us, and you've got in... And you've got in Yud Gimel, I think it was. Yud Beis, maybe. No, Yud Gimel. The Mishnah Berurah's clear guidance is based on the Ramah over here. The Shulchan Aruch. He says, Umutar litol misham, ulanichai be'ezim makim sheyirtze. This is the Mishnah Berurah starts out. This is the Shulchan Aruch says, the first case we know the answer to. Kli shemalachtai le'isser, that I had a right to use or to move. You have that ironing board, okay? All the other 75 cases that we spoke about, blocking the door, was leaning against the door. So now you're holding it, okay? So now you don't want to just leave it there. Now it gets complicated. Sometimes an ironing board is something you just pull, right? What's pulling? When I pull something, it's not in my hand, right? Because it's stopped. And it's all the cases that we're talking about. Let's say I have a hammer, it's in my hand, and I keep on walking. Now, says the Mishnah Berurah, that's the first case, Kli, Shemalachdoi, the Isser, that I started carrying the heter. So the Shulchan Aruch says, you're allowed to put it where you want. Lanicha be'ezim makim sheyirtze. So the Mishnah Berurah, the kevin should be yadai, and you did it l'tzarek gufa mekaymai, Roshai, l'taltal yoiser. That's the easy case that the Ran says, Taisvis says, The Rashba says in Kuf Chav Dal, the Rashba in Beya, the Toisus in Beya and Daf Gimel, the Ran in Beya and Daf Beis. This is something which is mamish all over the Rishonim. They all say, they bring rayas from different Gemaras. There's one Gemara about somebody in Kuf Chav Dal that he's carrying around the plate. So the Rishonim ask, how's he carrying around the plate? He said, and Hanami took it off the table. We have to drop it right there. So they say no. So from here you see that a kli shemalachta iser. It was talking about when they asered even plates or whatever. They see a kli shemalachta iser. Once I'm moving it to tzarkufay, I'm allowed to put it where I want. What's called where I want? All this we have to talk about. That's case number one. So you have to keep in mind? If I'm pulling an ironing board, I'm pulling a muksa. I was thinking that yesterday. I'm pulling that that big thing that you hang the laundry on. So you're pulling it. So now I moved it away from where it was blocking. Who says you have a right to go weiter? No, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm pulling something. No shaila if I stop. Right? Let's say I stop. And now it's on the floor, and I'm holding it with my hand. So what? You're allowed to touch muksa. Right? So what do you do? That's called you stopped. Right? No, you have to have l'chayra. I would imagine l'chayra. I don't know. I guess Kol Zman he's pulling. I mean, how do you do this exactly? Right? Kol Zman he's pulling. Maybe I don't know. I was thinking this yesterday, and I didn't find anybody talks about it. So maybe it's something we have to come back to. Upon him. That's the first thing. What's the hezber before we continue? Why is it mutter if you have muksa? Danny, I'm going to go 5 minutes overtime because we started a few minutes late. What's the hezber, Rabbi say? Why is it that when muksa is in my hand, I'm allowed to continue? Rabbi say, you're in the middle of waiting fleishiks, you're 6 hours. Each to their own. Somebody waits 5 hours, somebody waits 3 hours, somebody waits 1 hour, right? Somebody, each your own. You're in the middle of waiting, you're 6 hours. Okay? And then all of a sudden, you sit down and, you make yourself a coffee, you put inside the milk, right? And now, Gewalt, I'm fleishiks. So you're allowed to, continue drinking the coffee. Misha achal shum yoichel. You got, like the Gemara says, you started eating garlic, so your breath should get even more dreadful. You're not allowed to. What? Just because you started drinking the coffee, so now we're going to say no. You have to wait, and you have to wait till the next 6 hours, even if your coffee gets cold. No such thing. So why all of a sudden I'm carrying books in my hand and I'm allowed to continue carrying? What's this all about? You had a hetet, so kufi, mazeh. We'll see on all the other books. So there's two mahalchim that they say. I would have said something like this. In Kli Shemalachta the Isser, I would say, look, a Kli Shemalachta the Isser, we saw once far is that it's Xeris Kalim. The whole thing is Xeris Kalim. Chazal said that, we got to keep this guy away from his hammer and whatever. Okay. But they didn't answer Bichlal Tzar Gufay Tzar Mekoymai. They didn't answer it because in that mode, he's not going to come to make the mistakes. I would have said it's like in modes, The person, he's taking the hammer in order to pry open the window in a case where it's mutter. He's taking the hammer to crack open coconuts and things like that. So he's not in the Isser mode. He knows what he just did. So what were Chazal concerned with? He's going to stop and pick it up, or he's picking it up to save it for Tuesday, which is saving it for Isser mode. If you're in Isser mode, so Chazal said no. If you're in Heter mode, what's heter mode? I'm moving it out of the way. Chazal said moving it out of the way. That's considered a tzarich of Shabbos, moving it to crack. So he's in a heter mode. So he's not going to come to go now and use it. He's in a mode doing something else. He's doing something for Shabbos. When he's doing something for Shabbos, he's not. That's what I would have said. I saw something similar in the tzlach. It's not exactly the tzlach, but he says it like this. He says, Chazal only answered the tchilas tiltal. When it came to muksa, they only answered, what is the yisr of muksa? The yisr of muksa is, don't start moving muksa. Once you did, this is going to have ramifications if we're talking about Gufa and Malachta the Yisr and all these things. But Chazal said, don't go and move the muksa milichatchila. But they didn't say, don't continue carrying muksa. The Yisr was only, don't start moving muksa. Okay? I don't fully understand the tlach. Certainly in Kli Shemalachta the Yisr, I can understand it. I could sort of understand it, at least in the case we're talking about. We'll see. It's obviously much more complicated than this because we're going to see a lot of cases of where a person didn't do it, but had to. But at least in one case, we could all agree. If it's done, the tzarech gufay mekayma, we don't need to come on to chedushim. He's in mode of Shabbos. So then in that case, Chazal didn't answer. I'm oversimplified here because you'll see it's not going to help us for most of the cases we're going to talk about. But then I saw the Nor Sameach. That's the Harifis of Meir Simcha. Nor Sameach is in... He's in the 24th parak, in the 12th sif over there. Murdik Avart from the, it goes on to say to the Rambam. So Chav Dal Yud Beis, he brings up Murdik Pshat. There are some He says, what's the whole list of muksa? Is Atu Eitzah. The whole issue of muksa is atu. If you're going to take the muksa and start moving around the muksa, what are you going to come to do? You're going to come to be mitzi. Rabbi said, could you ever come lidei deraisa? Could you ever come lidei deraisa? Well, let's see. Well, if I started moving the item in order to go for tzarech gufa, or in order to go tzarech mekoymai or something like that, or whatever, right? So then now, how are you going to come lidei deraisa? The halacha by Utzah is that it has to be akira rishayna al das to leave. Now here, it's never a dais to leave because he's taking this kli. Al das to go and crack open a coconut. So now what are you worried about? That now he's going to walk outside, but it'll never be a deraisa because he's already in the process of that which he was doing. If a person does it, so it has to be from the beginning. Is that das, the akira and the anacha have to be related. I'm taking a daita to the anacha. If let's say he took it in the beginning and he didn't plan on going outside. Somebody wanted to move something from one corner to another corner. And then in the middle, he changes his mind and he decides to go outside. So that's in Frisch Gemara. Oversimplified. All these terutzim are just to help us understand. Because safe, once he stopped and it's in his hand, we still allow him to continue walking, right? He has the coconut, he smashed it open, now he's holding it in his hand. And he stopped. And now he decides, I want to go and walk outside. Is he chayiv nisa? Yeah. Off a cliff? Yeah. A high one? 2 floors, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, yeah. Right? Why? Because what's the, so the vart of the Or Samech is just to let us, get a little glimpse into the, understanding of Chazal, but it's not like at a saif. It's not at a saif. Okay. Now, the plot thickens. Comes again the Aguda. The Aguda was one of the Rishonim. And the Aguda talks about a case. Tell me if this sounds familiar. So what do we know right now? We know one thing. Kli, Shemalachtai, the Yisr, that I was moving with Tzarech Gufay, Mekoymai, Tzarech Shabbos. So that we know you're going to be allowed to continue moving her. Okay? I'm telling you, the husband in that case is the easiest thing of all. You're in Shabbos mode. So Chazal said anything in Shabbos mode, we let you finish up that whole entire action. Chazal never asked it. We don't know anything else yet. What if I accidentally picked up a hammer? What if I'm holding the eggshells, not accidentally? What if I accidentally picked up a shell or something like that? What now? All these cases, Madina, can I continue? We don't know anything else. So comes again the Aguda, and he says, a wonderful chiddush. There you are in your house. This ever happened to you? And you're wearing your money pouch. Right? These things came back in style over all the years. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I remember when I was growing up in Brooklyn. Right? This is going back in the 30s or 40s. Nobody had them. Right? Später in the 90s, they came in style again. Right? It came in style again. Yeah, it has to do with the BLM. Okay. Then you hit the year 2000, right? And already they were gone. Now they're back in style. How do I know? That's right. Right? That's right. Adidas. That's right. They're all in style now, and you can't, you can't get a driver's license in New York without sporting one of these things and whatever. Maybe it's because you're afraid of people that come and take things from your pockets, so you want it in the front. But that's what goes today. What's going to be in a few years? I do not know. But these things are in style, and in medieval times, in the times of the Aguda, they were in style. So the Aguda talks about a yid that there he is on Erev Shabbos, and he's walking around, and he's got his rubles. And he's got his kopecks and everything inside his pouch. Vergessen to take it up. So the pouch. So what now? He has the pouch. What do you do now? Right? So the Aguda says over there, he says, if you're in Rishus Rabbi, you gotta put it down, get the guy, whatever. But if you're in your house, so he says, so you go into your room, and then you take it off and you drop. Okay, it's not clear exactly to take it off because it's a bus, but his point that the Aguda says is you can walk all the way to your room and then drop it over there in a place where it's convenient for you to drop it. Oh, this is already an interesting chiddush. Now he's telling me, here's a case of where I'm carrying my pouch and I can continue carrying her. You started carrying her on Erev Shabbos, you can continue carrying her. Now, heed my words. There are 3 differences between the Aguda and what we have been talking about. The Aguda is talking me 3 differences. Let's go. First of all, the Aguda is talking about gelt. Gelt is muksa machmas gufa. He's talking about real. We never spoke about this yet. We only spoke about the hammer. We only spoke about kishmak liyas. That's what we spoke about. That's what Shulchan Aruch and Mishabur said. So he's talking about gelt, and he's going to let me continue gelt. That's why this is a tremendous, most wonderful. That another Okay. What is this thing exactly? It's a belt. What is this belt? It's a belt that he's wearing on his waist. What is that? That's muksa, machmas, gufay, because it's money. And it's what? It's tiltal begufay? No, because gufay, that's the normal way of carrying your belt. Gufay, the whole lumdus of gufay is that I'm doing something strange. That's how you Salamites tiltal minatzad. Maybe. Tiltal minatzad the tzarech what? Davar aser. Okay, but it's not in my hand. Okay? Because aguda, I can continue. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. Let me say one more thing. I see it's getting late here. Let me say one more thing. No, we'll pick it up from here tomorrow. Okay, we'll pick up. Whoever doesn't have a chavus yet should come to me, Rabbi say. Give me 2 seconds just to get. Wait, guys.